Well, hello, everybody. Hi, this is Meryl, and this is,
Rachel Brown.
and we are here at the CNS, at Center for Nutrition Studies Fall Foliage Retreat in scenic Rochester, New York. If I could turn the camera around without breaking something, I would show you. It is maybe it is absolutely beautiful here. The fall colors are probably coming close to peak right now. The weather right now is probably about 70 degrees. It is just gorgeous. So we're out in the gazebo of this hotel called the Woodcliff Spa and Hotel. And we're just going to talk a little bit about child nutrition.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah,
Important topic.
it really super is. So Rachel was actually on our podcast some months ago
Yeah,
now, right? And thankfully, we are like at our 1 year
I
anniversary
know.
meeting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
How fun is that? And
Yeah.
she wrote this book.
For fork's sake,
Yes.
a quick guide to healing yourself and the planet through a plant-based diet.
And it's a lot about families and getting families to switch over.
It
right?
is. Yeah, yeah. It was my effort at helping make the process easier. So I talked with a lot of young families. Our kids were young when we made this transition, like 6 and 8. And it can be tricky. So I just tried to simplify things like why? Why should we do this anyway? Is it okay for kids' health? So why is it important for us and for the planet? And then how do we go about doing it? So gave some stories about how not to do it, the mistakes we made, help prevent people from making the same mistakes, and just some encouragement for how to go about doing it.
That is so good. And thank you for taking the time and all the whatever that took to write a book. So good. So let's just talk kids nutrition.
Yeah.
So one thing I kind of run into a lot when I talk is, of course, they're worried about that the children are going to get enough calories and enough,
Page 5 of the book.
Yes.
I'm assuming you mean the protein list.
The protein question is the eternal question.
I have a chart. I tell everyone it's on page 5. You don't have to worry about it. But yeah, it is a common concern for parents. And I mean, it makes a certain amount of sense, right? We want to grow healthy children. But there's so much confusion and noise out there as to what is healthy and what is appropriate amount of protein. So I remind people you don't have to be scared about it, as long as you're eating a well-rounded amount of whole food, plant-based food. So nuts, seeds, grains, vitamins and nutrients, getting them through vegetables, through all of that, beans, you're going to get all the protein you need, probably even more than you need. But you can easily, if you're worried about your kids getting enough protein, there's easy ways to work that in. So you can make peanut butter balls or nut balls. I have a recipe for that in the book. You can add chickpeas to smoothies. You can add tofu. I mean, there's all kinds of ways. And your kids will have favorites you'll soon discover.
Right. So you are in Chicago, California.
California,
Sorry,
yeah.
in Chicago.
Yeah. Yep, we're Santa Cruz area, Scottsdale, California.
Right. So how is the school system there, like for supporting this kind of lifestyle, these kinds of choices?
Yeah, well, sadly, not as good as I would like it to be. My kids, I still remember my daughter being in elementary school and her teacher sending a note home saying she was concerned about her lunch, that she wasn't getting enough protein, that she wasn't eating animal products. She really needed some animal products. So, I sent a article back. But yeah, there's a growing amount of school gardens and that kind of thing, awareness. And there is a measure, actually, Beth Love, a member of Whole Communities through CNS, she was working with that to try and get soy milk into schools and have some plant-based options. But yeah, sadly, it's not like there's a, salad at every salad bar or, burrito bar or whatever. Yeah, and at least in California, we came from Washington State, and I was shocked. We didn't even have, our kids didn't have like cafeterias. The schools no longer have kitchens in them. They take prepared food to the schools, and then the kids sit outside because it's nice most of the year. A few weeks a year, they sit inside in their classrooms, but they don't have the cafeteria set up like I was used to in school. Yeah, so it's lacking.
Yeah. I know not long ago anyway, there was a young girl who was trying to sue her school district
Yes, I actually met her at the Vegan Women's Summit. She came and spoke. Yeah, for not having. She was trying to, I believe, if I remember right, she was trying to promote literature on bringing soy milks into school or plant-based alternative milks, and yeah, they said no, you can't do that. So
something. It really is something. So in Illinois, they just recently, this school year, 2023, they implemented a law change to the school lunch. Yeah, really specifically school lunch program. An amendment that says any child with prior request can receive a plant-based lunch in school, which is just amazing.
Wow.
Just
amazing.
amazing.
Huge.
Yeah. So part of what we are trying to do is promote that and get more parents to know that those are options and why is it important, why is it valuable, why is it not, why is it less desirable on either side, right? Why would you maybe steer away from pepperoni pizza and lean more into a plant-based option and what that means for children? So any thoughts on that? Any thoughts, like if somebody said, okay, here's a plant-based option pizza compared to this traditional pizza, what would you say in the world of choosing?
Well, a few things. I mean, I would say it depends on the type of plant-based pizza too, because sometimes there's these transition foods that, especially maybe kids love pepperoni, so you can find a plant-based pepperoni, which might be a good transition food, but I try to tell people to just use those as transition foods because you can find some now without oil, but oftentimes there's lots and lots of extra added fat in the form of oils and other things. But I mean, number one, I would say we don't need these animal products in our bodies, and many people can't digest actual milk products, cheese products. So that's an issue right off the bat.
I'm one of those.
Yeah, for so many people. And I want to say, I don't remember percentages, but it's like at least, is it up to 60% of people? I want to say.
So it depends. I've seen it divided by either race and or ethnicity, right? So for African Americans, it's about 75% can digest animal milk somehow.
Right.
Either it's a lactose thing or like for me, I get upper respiratory infections, ear infections, sinus problems, that kind of thing if I eat that. If you lean into like the Asian populations, it's even higher. If you lean into the Native American indigenous populations, at least here in North America, it's even higher still.
Yeah. Well, and I'm obviously not African American. My husband's not either, but he and my daughter are both lactose intolerant. So, yeah, I mean, so it's a real issue for a lot of people, and a lot of people don't even know that they have issues until they give it up, and then they go, "Oh, that stomach ache that I used to have after sports, or after a meal, that's what that was." Or like you said, sinus infections for kids. A lot of times, colds and head colds. If you're eating a lot of dairy, that just makes so much mucus in your body, and it makes it so much worse. So, yeah, so the fact that we don't need it, a lot of people can't digest it. I mean, it's subsidized by our government, so it's often in schools because the government has purchased a lot of milk and meat, and it needs to get rid of it. So prisons and schools get the brunt of that, but you can make so many more healthy choices. So, pizzas, at home we do like really simple whole wheat pitas. Everybody can make their own pizza on that. So my kids never liked red sauce, so we'd make homemade pesto sauce. Chop up whatever veggies you like. We do use an Italian sausage, No Evil brand. They have one that doesn't have any oil in it. I'd make a little cashew cheese or goat cheese, and you can drizzle that on the top. Really yummy pizzas. So kids love having choices too, I found. So anytime you can do a burrito bowl or burrito or taco,
a bar,
totally, where they can add whatever they want on there, then that's a big win too. So I mean, but to your point about doing a plant-based pizza instead of regular pizza, with kids especially, it can be wonderful to use a familiar food, a food they love, just make a whole food plant-based version of it, right? So whether that's pizza or burgers or enchiladas, lasagna, mac and cheese. I mean,
baked potatoes.
Oh my gosh, so good, right? Yes. So it's not like you have to give up all your favorite foods. It's not like your kids have to give up their favorite foods. I mean, I did make once chicken nuggets that are chickpea nuggets.
Yep.
They took a little bit of time, but I'm sure you could get it down to a quick and easy science. But it was like breadcrumb around the outside, and they looked like a chicken nugget, and you could dip them in the same sauces, and they tasted normal to me. I mean, they didn't taste like chicken, but chicken doesn't really taste like anything. So, you can replicate some of these favorites that your kids love, and have them be actually life-giving, healthy food for them, rather than food that will make them not feel well either today or down the road, lead to childhood issues of diabetes or obesity, which is an epidemic. So yeah, you can do these things without too much effort.
The other thing I would love for our viewers, listeners to know is that there is a definite connection, established research connection between the amount of fiber that kids get and their development. Excuse me, emotional development, motor development, social development. That's a whole other thing. And our population is terribly deficient in fiber, which only comes from plants. So it's important that we make an effort to get that into our children's diets.
Right. That's what I was just gonna say. And how much is in animal products?
Zero.
Nothing.
None.
Yeah. And with kids, again, it's really not that hard. Maybe your kids don't love oatmeal, but you can toss some oats or something into a fruit smoothie. With some greens in there too, and you get all kinds of fiber. You can try all kinds of different grains. You can still have pasta, just whole wheat pasta or chickpea pasta. There's so many kinds now that you don't need to get white pasta and stuff. So there are easy ways to get more fiber into our diet, and one of the simplest ways, just having a bowl of fruit out and a veggie drawer that your kids can pull from, and involving them in the process. So even if they're really little, and maybe especially if they're really little, bring them to the store with you and give them the choice. Like, what, would you like apples or oranges this week? It's back to that choice thing, not like what fruit would you like? I mean, maybe sometimes that works, but especially with greens, it can be helpful. Like, which would you like? Would you like cucumbers or zucchini to dip in white bean dip this week?
Nice.
So yeah, having fiber around in forms that they like is very helpful.
Yeah. Great suggestion. So, what are you up to now? You wrote this book. What's your next step?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
I wrote this book. I'm consulting. I'm still podcasting and speaking different places. I'm speaking with the Esselstyn Family Foundation early November. Just trying to spread the word everywhere I can. So I speak to schools and Rotary clubs and wherever, libraries, all kinds of places. Senior centers even. That's been so fun. I get emails from people who are 87 who say, I heard you last year and my husband and I have lost 14 pounds and we're off 2 medications. So it's so fun. It's not just for kids.
Right. No, it's for anybody who eats, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. So people ask for it. It's not something I set out to do, but I do consulting. If you go to my website, because people were asking, like, I read the book, but I need a little extra help, or I fell off the wagon, or now I have kids. I'm not sure, what to do. So I do that as well.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
I'm so glad you are too, because there is so much work to be done. It's unending. The whole idea. We talk about the medical establishment of which I am part, right? And this, I look at it more like they have a fear that they're going to run out of patients, right? So they really sort of drip feed health information to people. They very, very careful on how they give that stuff out. It's like precious. And there's this fear, in fact, I used to manage clinics, right? And there was always this pressure to make sure the schedules were filled, and you don't want any downtime for your doctors. They got to see somebody every like 10 to 15 minutes. And if there's downtime, if there's holes in the schedule, this impacts the bottom line of a clinic, right? But there's really no shortage of people who need the information, right? No shortage at all. I don't think there will ever be a shortage of people who need to know healthcare ways to take care of themselves, eat, manage stress, and live a
Yeah, it's so true, and it's sometimes surprising being in this space, like being here. It's wonderful to be around people who are knowledgeable on all these subjects and who are looking for information and working in many different fields and involving this information. But sometimes I am shocked, out in the real world, talking to people who are like, "What? Yogurt is not good for me."
Right? How come I didn't know that?
Right, exactly. Right? And that was my first reaction, almost 14 years ago when I read the China study. I was angry that nobody had ever told me this information. And I had high cholesterol, and doctors just kept telling me to eat a little less cheese, a little less eggs, and exercise a little bit more.
And take the meds.
Yeah, and I said no thank you to the meds because I watched my dad take those meds forever, and he would take them and then lose his taste and have to go on to a different medication. And I was like, I don't want to do that. But my grandfather had Alzheimer's. My dad's in the early stages of Alzheimer's. We found out we carried the APOE 3/4 gene. So, I have invested reason to want to keep my arteries clean, to not build up plaque in my body, in my brain. So, I try and share this news everywhere I go because I realize there are large areas of the country who haven't heard of this. And when, as a society and as a system, we're set up to serve cheap food, it's not for our health. It's all about, like you said, the bottom line, even healthcare.
Sadly. Really sadly.
Yeah.
When you say that you're going to senior citizen centers, how receptive is the administration to what you say about Alzheimer's and dementia and things like that?
Well, it was lovely. The director of our senior center actually came to my talk at the library, and then she said, "Would you come do a talk at our senior center?" So I said, "Sure." So it was really great. I mean, we had 15 people there. I think it wasn't a huge number, but I set up a overnight oat bar, so everybody got to make their own overnight oats and take them with them. And the director said, "Can I make the soup out of your book?" So we made longevity soup, and everybody got to try it. So it was great because people went, "Oh, this is something I could do, and this actually tastes good." My husband will eat this, or it doesn't take all day to make.
Right.
So
not super expensive.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was immediate buy-in, which the more we can kind of break down these wrong thoughts people have about what it means to eat whole food, plant-based, no oil. I mean, it's not going to take you more time once you get this down, and it's gonna be easier than it was. You don't have to deep clean your kitchen because you don't have oil sprayed everywhere. You're gonna save money because really once you take the meat and the cheese, the ice cream, and creamer, and the half and half, and butter, and the expensive olive oil, all these things out of your grocery cart, you can literally fill it with fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds. I mean, even macadamia nuts and cashews and all the things that maybe seemed really expensive before in the plant-based world, but and you'll still come out ahead. So these are just some of the things I like to help people understand, that it's you're going to get everything you need. It's not going to be any harder than what you're already doing, and you will feel so fantastic.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah,
that's like the bonus, the secret.
Yes.
What is that, like the best kept secret?
Yeah.
From, I would say, I'm gonna guess maybe 3 weeks in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even less.
Yeah, even like 6 to 10 days, I would say. People really around the 2-week to 3-week mark, you're right. People are like, "Oh my gosh, I'm sleeping so well." My skin. People are commenting on how good my skin looks. All these things you don't really think about, or maybe they weren't the reasons that you made a switch, but just start occurring. And for kids, once they transition, one thing that's really lovely, giving them food that has a lot of fiber in it. You won't have these like spikes and drops like you do, or maybe you've experienced with young kids, or even older kids, but they'll have sustained energy for all day school, for going to practice, or all those things, and not have these, sugar highs and lows, which
crabby attitudes and things like that.
I mean, I'm not guaranteeing your teenager won't complain at all about anything, but
it's not magic dust.
No,
it is not.
But it's close to that.
So true. Really good.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should probably wrap it up. This has been so nice. I'm so glad that we got to reconnect.
I know, and out in the sunshine, getting our vitamin D.
That's right. Yes, enjoying this great great conference. If any of you have a chance, should there be another, definitely one to take advantage of. The
Yeah.
Center for Nutrition.
T. Colin Campbell speaking again today. He spoke yesterday. Leanne Campbell speaking about
Yes.
her project, really amazing environmental work in
Yes.
Dominican Republic. Thomas Campbell even spoke yesterday, co-authored the China study. Yeah, fantastic speakers.
Yeah.
Cardiologist who led meditation. I mean,
Yeah.
amazing.
Great stuff.
And
Our-
you're speaking?
Yes, and you're speaking. We're both
Okay.
talking on child nutrition.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
So great time. Great
Yeah,
time.
definitely.
All right. Well, we're going to sign off and we will catch you next time. Next time I run into Rachel, we'll do another one.
Sounds good.